Hey everyone, thought today we would do a quick recording with a little teaser of the Slav course that we'll be coming out with for ChessGoals. Ever since we came out with the Caro-Kann course, I've been receiving a lot of questions. What should I do against d4 or other systems that aren't 1e4 that will complement the Caro-Kann repertoire? So I've put together a course outline, which I will show you here. And we will go through these one by one and just kind of talk a little bit briefly about what the recommendations are for the upcoming ChessGoals course. So first we're going to look at what if white starts with d4. Second most common move after e4. The recommendation will be d5. After c4, c6, there are a few different transpositions to look at, but let's just first follow the main line. So in chapter 1 we're going for a Slav main line. After knight c3. Here I toyed with playing or recommending the semi-Slav e6, but we're going to actually probably recommend d takes c4 and go right into the mainline Slav. After this, the most common move by far for grandmasters is to play a4. We will be recommending bishop to f5, and this will be chapter 1. So there will be about 10 variations in this chapter, so it's going to be similar to the Caro-Kann course. We're looking at 9 chapters total. Each chapter will be about 10 variations, and really we will focus on lines that are a little bit offbeat, but also pose your opponent with some tough decisions, and we want to focus on lines that are easy to learn. So we're going to look for strategic themes and patterns that are similar across different variations. So this is going to be chapter 1, Slav main line, with a4 on move 5 for white. Chapter 2, this is going to be the Gelger Gambit. This line is not very popular at the grandmaster level, and the reason for that is because if black knows their theory, black actually gets an advantage out of the opening, and almost a full pawn according to Stockfish. So this will be a line that we're going to give a whole chapter, even though percentage-wise it might not be occurring in 10% of your games. Non-e4 games as black, but I think it deserves a full chapter because really this is one where we will have to memorize some lines. If we want to prove that e4 is a bad move by white or an inaccuracy, we need to memorize some lines after playing b5. So that's one where we're going to go in depth, really try to learn the Gelger Gambit lines. That's chapter 2. Chapter 3, after knight f6, it's going to look at a bunch of different variations. We will look at e3, sometimes referred to as the slow Slav. We will also look at g3, which I don't know if it really has a name, but it's almost like attempting a Catalan opening, but coming out of the Slav structure. And then we will also look at the queen moves, queen c2, queen b3. Those tend to transpose. So chapter 3 is going to be Slav mainline, in the sense that we're doing d4, c4, not capturing on d5 from the white perspective. But then it's going to be anything besides chapters 1 and 2. And then moving to chapter 4, we will look at all variations where c takes d happens. Whether it's right away here, maybe white develops one of the knights first, and we're going to look at a bunch of different ideas that white could throw at us in the Slav exchange line. And one thing that we're giving recommendations is really try to avoid the drawish lines. So instead of going for just, symmetric play after the Slav exchange, we're going to look to play aggressive. And then in chapter 5, so backing up to here, we're going to look at the London. And that comes after 2 knight f3 or 2 bishop f4. They tend to transpose. And our recommendation is going to be lines where we play for a quick c5. So we'll probably start knight f6 and then go for a quick c5. And we're going to try to put pressure on white's center right away. And I think these lines are really fun from the black side because it's almost like we're playing the white pieces. We have a little extra space. We do have a slight advantage in terms of the initiative. And I think this will give you guys a lot to play for. Moving on to chapter 6. We're going to look at other solid defenses for white besides the London. So the London is a very solid kind of system-based repertoire for the white pieces. We're going to look at lines like the Tory, or maybe white goes e3 and c3. We're also going to look at the pseudo tromp, which is bishop to g5. We're going to look at lines with an early knight to c3, so even on move 2, knight to c3, where white tries to play for an e4 push. This is going to be sort of a catch-all chapter after 1d4. And then moving on to chapter 7, I think this is one of the nice aspects of this repertoire. We're going to give you lines for everything besides 1e4. This is going to have you prepared for the ready and the English as well. So the ready occurs after 1 knight f3. We're going to recommend a setup based on d5, most likely c6 depending on what white does, and we're going to try to go for similar ideas as the Slav and the Caro-Kann. And then after 1 c4, it only makes sense for us to try to transpose into a Slav with 1 c6. So our plan is to play d5 next. If white goes d4, we play d5, we're right back into a Slav. And if white plays e4 here, trying to go for some sort of move order trick, we also play d5 and now we're into a Caro-Kann. So 1 c6 will be our recommendation after white plays 1 c4 going for the English. And then chapter 9, it will be based on how often these moves occur in practice. But this is going to be all other first moves for white. So we'll look at things like b3, probably f4, really any different kind of quirky systems that you could face from white on the first move. That will all be covered in chapter 9. All right, so please leave your comments in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this repertoire. Let me know if there's certain things you want to see or certain lines you want to avoid from the black pieces, because as of right now, this is still in the very early stages, and I'm yet to really hammer out all the different lines that I want to recommend. And if you like this video, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.